Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve. My name is Joel, and
I'm
this
Steve.
is your favorite podcast.
It is now. Or wait, sure. I'm a little punchy, but I'm a lot punchy, actually.
I have to admit something. I read some spiritual literature and I did a little loving kindness meditation, but when I heard Steve's voice on the setup, I just couldn't help but give you a hard time. So I think if you're punchy, it might be partly to do with my energy that I meditated.
Oh, dude, you are so self-centered.
Bring it.
It could also have to do with the fact that I was awake from 2 a.m. yesterday till 2 a.m. today across 2 time zones and
all right,
a lot.
I won't take all of that then. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you like 10% maybe. You're like this little gnat that's kind of just floating around trying to it's like I'm eating breakfast and there's a little gnat flying around. Like, fuck you, gnat. I love you.
Fuck you, little gnat. My fatigue and rage has nothing to do with you, but you're not making it any better. But it's not your fault. I'm talking about
Who
you.
Are we talking about now?
I'm saying that's
you?
No.
Rage? Where's rage?
Here we go.
You're projecting a lot today.
I can get you
every accusation.
I can get you from 0 to fucking breaking that microphone. I can get you there. Don't make me go there.
Oh, bring it.
Calmer than you. I'm finishing my coffee.
I got my Kirkland sparkling water situation happening. I already had coffee.
It says, "You've always had the power, dear. You just had to learn it for yourself." Glinda, the Good Witch.
I don't even.
As I
feel like we're off to a good start
today.
Gosh,
it's been a weird start to 2024, huh?
It's been very bizarre. Yeah, but that's what I've decided. I'm just embracing it. I don't care.
Yeah, bring the weird.
Bring on the weird.
The last time we did this, we had a very special guest. Thanks for hooking that up, dude. That was really great.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mike has hooked me up, so he's just a great dude, and it was good to just hang with him on our side of the fence, I guess. In our house. He's a genuinely great dude.
I really get that sense. Like, it'd be weird if he was kind of not himself off of the guest of the year, but I get that's just who he is.
Right. No, it's like who you get on the show is exactly who he is. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I have never had dinner with him, although I hope to do that in March.
Oh yeah, right on.
But I have run into. I mean, we met him at a show. Like, he's just a good dude.
Yeah, it was nice of him to spend some time with 2 yappers.
Absolutely.
He's, one thing I got from him, Mike, and if you're listening, I appreciate, like, even in this format, he's able to listen and take it in and then respond. Yep. Whereas my chatty ass wants to interrupt. Like, I was like, man, I really, I could really steal that from him. Like, man, how does he do that? How does he just listen?
Right. I think he just listens. He just stops talking.
That's a skill I don't have yet.
That was when we first started doing this. One of our friends, I don't remember who it was just saying, like, yeah, it's like you guys are constantly walking all over each other, but it works.
We're we've found our consciousness has found each other in the cosmic soup of consciousness soup, and we're trying to complement each other.
Oh, whoa. Okay, let's back that up 10 seconds. Let's try that again.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm not going to try to get too philosophical. Yeah, no, we do kind of like I think my brother has said it's like, yeah, it's like riding in the back seat with you two in the front on the way to a show. And so,
Yeah.
we don't want to get
There you go.
we don't want to get
That's
too
good times,
healthy
really.
because then where's the magic,
No. No good art was ever made that was super healthy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, come on, Enya's fine when you're getting a massage, but you don't put it on the, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay, I retract my previous statement. I suppose there is some healthy art out there.
where?
I mean,
Where?
exactly.
Tell me where that is.
Yeah. So I have
a
a few things
too, but yeah, this is good.
Oh, okay. Well, should we like make a list and then we can like trade off? When I was in military school, that's how me and my roommate did it. Is every other day we got to choose the music for the day.
Kirsten and I play a game in the car where it starts with one song and then something about that song can inspire the other person's choice, and it doesn't have to make sense. So, yeah, you go first. I mean, I want to talk about death. I want to talk about.
I was going to talk about rock and roll in Puerto Rico,
and I want to talk about my favorite bands teasing new music.
And
yeah, some cool stuff that's going on in my classes. But you go ahead, man.
Okay, so this is something that's been on the conversation docket since Frostival, actually. So that was between Christmas and New Year's. We just haven't talked very much. And I had this epiphany, and I know that there are people that may or may not be listening out there that are going to roll their eyes and think, Jesus, dude, about time. But I had this realization, and I think also it has something to do with my present life circumstances where I find myself more available than perhaps I have been in the past to pursue certain things. And thank you. And but I went to this Frostival deal up in Omaha, which was held at and this is I guess it's been going on for over a decade now, but two places, the Waiting Room Lounge and the Reverb Lounge, they're on the same block, and they have like a service hallway between them. And on this one night between Christmas and New Year's, they have Frostival, and 10 bands maybe between the.
You've mentioned it, yeah, and the experience that you had there was cool, and yeah,
it was very amazing. But the epiphany and the thing that I actually wanted to discuss was this idea of, rather than spending gobs of money on the big rock show festival situation where you have to travel and go. I had just as good a time at Frostival. Like I had even perhaps a better experience than I have at certain other big events that cost 10 times as much, 20 times.
Yeah.
With all expenses included, not that it's all about dollars, but like I really had this, because the other thing is that I'm meeting people, all of whom are very cool, and interesting, and from all, it's like the Dead Scene. Everybody's included, everything from, Dirt Surfer Wookiees to Steve Jobs, and everything in between, right? And
hi, we're welcome to Frostville, everybody. We're the Dirt Surfer Wookiees. We're here from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
I'm the Wookiee.
Sorry.
Anyways, yeah. God damn. God, I have attention deficit disorder right now.
I know where the buttons are.
Okay, fine. Okay, everybody, this is our last podcast. It's been a great ride.
Sips coffee.
I'm quitting Joel.
So no, I'm sorry. I totally appreciate your ADD.
But I really had this. It was this moment of like, well, this is where I want to spend my time. This is where I want, like, it's the whole think globally, act locally thing. Like, I'll say this one time, Bob Weir has enough of my money.
That you don't need to go to the Sphere. You don't.
I do not. I actually don't feel the need to go to the Sphere. I feel like that loop has been closed. And don't get me wrong, obviously,
right.
I'm a fan.
If like a stork came in and dropped off tickets to the Sphere, you'd go. Yeah. Okay.
Of course I'd go.
You're not
Of
like,
course I would.
fuck
Yeah.
the spear, fear.
No. Fuck all that.
Fuck those.
Yeah. Fuck Bob Weir. Yeah. No, I'm not. That's not. You're right. That's exactly correct. Of course. You know.
Yeah.
Of course I'd go. All 24
Yeah,
shows or whatever
right.
they're playing. You know. But that's not. But I also feel like I'm really just kind of getting plugged into, quote, the scene between Lincoln and Omaha a little bit. And all I mean by that is I have made some friends.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm really like, I feel like I'm doing now what I wanted to do 30 years ago, but couldn't because I was such a mess.
That's interesting. Because and I'm not saying like I already did that, but there was a time when I moved to Lincoln because I was so show deprived, living in the middle of Ord, you know, like I'm
The middle
outside
of
the middle of nowhere. I wasn't even in town.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
shouldn't say the middle of Ord. I was in the middle of nowhere, which I appreciate, but I one
course.
Christmas I asked for, subscriptions to Rolling Stone and Spin because I thought that was the epicenter of all things pop culture and rock and roll. So I would thumb through them and be like, I can't go to I can't even get to these concerts. Like I don't have money. My car sucks.
Right.
And so when I got to
you know what? It's probably the immigrants' fault.
Whoa. That's like what
there's my bomb.
That meme where the person just like cranks the wheel and goes to the off ramp. Anyway,
yeah.
So when I moved to Lincoln, I distinctly remember that summer because like my poor mother, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but I like moved to Lincoln. Like my car was packed during the graduation ceremony, and then I like got in my car and left. I'm out.
Right.
When I got to Lincoln and lived with Colin and was like ready to go to college that summer, I went to like shows all the time at the Culture Center and all these little punk rock shows and seeing shows at the Havelock Social Hall. And like I had that because I was just so music deprived. And so I felt like, not like I don't do local music anymore, that'd be dumb to say, but I see what you're saying. Like you didn't really do that because you were doing big stuff. And now you're kind of.
Well, also that I was raising children, which I still am to a certain extent, but not.
Oh,
yeah, right. I was kind of had other like by the time I finally got to a place where I could be a human, I wasn't in a place to do that.
You had
and be a good father.
You had
whatever,
your own like immediate familial community to foster. Yeah. Well,
correct.
I guess that's okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like it happens to the best of us, like it happens all the time. But it's just, I really just, I just feel like when I'm out and like we played a show last night, the last 32 hours have just been bonkers, but, like people came out just to see us. And it was like, I knew some of them and it was just like, oh man, thank you so much for coming out, Like it was really, it's, I don't know,
venue.
fun.
What was the venue you guys played at last night?
The Storm
where is
Cellar.
that? I saw that. I was
the Storm Cellar is at 13th and Arapahoe by Oak Creek. And I don't know the history of the Storm Cellar at all, other than this lady Jackie owns it, and it is now the place where Jacob has landed. We should get him on here. He's an interesting dude. I like him. His name is hold on. Jacob Wool. He is well, we should probably talk about the Misfits situation for a second. Did you hear about all that?
You mentioned it to me, but I think it's pretty tasty.
Oh my God. So let's back up a step. Jacob Wool, he was I guess you'd say running operations guy for this new quote dive bar in the Haymarket called Misfits.
You did finger quotes on dive bar because it's like a new place meant to look like a dive bar.
Well,
okay.
Yes, and I'll get to the air quotes in a minute. I went to their soft opening a month ago, and it was fun. Had a great time. I'm like, this place is all right. Oh, and also since Bodega's Alley is closed, which longtime Lincoln music venue. Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Kind of hip spot. Everything from local acts to kind of, smaller touring acts would roll through. And so they closed. And so Misfits looked like the heir apparent to the Bodega's throne. You know what I'm saying? And we got to know Jacob a little bit, and he booked like all the bands that would have played Bodegas coming to Misfits. They had a good kitchen, awesome Reuben sandwich, which is important to me. Good sound system, cool guy running the soundboard, Drew, and like everything seemed great. Like, sweet, this place is gonna fly. We got a place to hang, trippy graffiti art in the bathrooms, the whole 9 yard. You know what I'm saying? Like it really looked the part, So and I like went down to an open jam thing with some guys and played a little bit, had a great time. Like, this place is going to be great. And the next night, Powder Blue, Southeast Nebraska's premier Ween tribute act, was playing a show. So me and our friend Ben and our friend and past guest David Gracie went down there to go check out the Weenness, to go get Brown. And there was this, like, Ben and I got there before Dave, and we were there was a security guy there, like wearing a yellow shirt.
Yeah, right.
Security.
The official uniform for
a
local bar security, the Dayglow yellow security shirt.
Yes, with the belt, with the handcuffs and taser and shit on them. And we're like, what's this guy's problem? Like, this guy's taking his job way too seriously. And it's like, well, whatever. And we ate our Reubens, and just shooting the shit. And then Dave comes down and he goes, man, that security guard's taking this job way too seriously. Like, yeah, we know. Yeah. Have a Reuben. And then the band starts playing, it's fine. And then, it got to be kind of late. And I knew what the band was going to play. They were playing Ween's live in Chicago in its entirety. And it's like halfway through it. I'm like, I got to go. I was just tired. And so I'm like, I'm out of here. And I think Dave might have left around that time too. But then, so the next day, that was Friday. So Saturday, the Exile on O Street, my band's like text thread, one of the guys like, something happened at Misfits last night. And I'm like, yeah, Ween, and they're like, no, like something else. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Well, I didn't see I just didn't think to look at the band message board. And, so what happened was couple of the guys from the opening duo, the opening band, were out on the back porch area getting ready to smoke a bowl, right?
Marijuana,
as one does, and
a bowl of marijuana or the jazz cabbage.
The jazz cabbage, exactly, yes, and the evil weed, and so security guard guy goes back there and starts like hassling them. Right, and it's not in public. It's like it's this little secluded back porch area,
he got his armor on, and he got his horse out, and he was,
and so he starts hassling them to the extent of getting out his handcuffs.
Yes.
Right. So then, and this is where like Ben's story version of it comes in. He's like, man, this crazy hippie chick gets up on stage and starts yelling about security and cops like during the band's show. I'm like, okay, hold on, dude. Because I've got like 4 or 5 pieces this together from the horse's mouth, and so she kind of gets up in the security guy's face and says something to the effect of, "Who the fuck are you, Paul Blart?"
That's it.
She called him Paul Blart. And that's when the taser came out. And so Jacob gets in between the middle of them, and Jacob gets fucking tased. The security guard.
Wait. You told me about this, but you didn't tell me anybody got actually tased.
That's because I didn't know that until last night, because Jacob was our point guy at the Exile show last night.
So wait. So a Paul Blart Rent-A-Cop guy. It's not even a Rent-A-Cop.
Yes.
It's just a rent-a-fake.
So just a guy in a yellow shirt who.
Sure,
so
but I'm just like, they have the power to tase. They have. That's what I want to know. Like handcuffs and tasers. That's like physical.
No,
wow.
wrong.
Okay.
Let me keep going. So So this guy, this is where it gets really good. My daughter's messaging me.
This is where it gets good.
Dead
air, man.
Hold on.
You're edging us all with this taser and handcuffs. This is like
okay. So, hold on, everybody. I'm podding with Joel right
somebody
now.
needs you.
No, it's my daughter wants to have lunch.
That's fine. Yeah, it's same. She needs you.
That's so everybody can just hold on for a second.
It's happening.
Yeah. It's noon. So we're done at noon. Right. So the deal is the Lincoln's premier dive bar, in air quotes, is owned by people that hired the security guard to, first of all, the security guard had just been released from prison for domestic assault.
Yep.
So that's cool, and so he was looking just to beat somebody, basically, probably a hippie, which there were plenty around.
It's a match made in heaven, really.
That's what I'm saying. After having watched at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C., the hired security goons play whack-a-hippie, like literally, I saw so many assaults at the hands of security and those things. It was unbelievable. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so the owners, who, again, it needs to be said, this place was like poised for takeoff. Right? All the cool bands were booked. It was like everybody was like, sweet, love Misfits. By the next day, Jacob had quit. Like, I got tased by your asshole security guy. I'm out, And the reason that guy was there is because, get this, the owners don't actually want it to be a real dive bar. They want it to be kind of a kitschy, fun place where people can go to pretend to slum, basically, and get cheap beers.
Right. That tracks.
All that guy had to do was A, not tase people, and B, just like if there was a fight, break it up. That's it. The police don't care if you smoke pot in the back of a
No, they don't. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody has time for that. They're just trying to keep people from getting stabbed at 14th and 0,
That just like
it's so incredible. The whole thing is just like, you idiots.
That's a bummer.
So I mean, Misfits may continue in some form, but nobody. Right, exactly. Nobody is gonna. And when I say nobody, I mean, cool people. I guess if you want to go to pretend to be, in a dive bar, you can go to Misfits.
If you're in town for the Husker game and you want to pretend to be at a dive bar.
We went and hung out at the dive bar downtown.
Yeah, we didn't go to that night place. We go to the cool dive bar and drink PBR and yeah. Fuck
right,
that.
yeah. It's like worse than, it's like fake hipsters. I don't know what they're trying to achieve, but they literally their mandate to the security guy was no smoking illicit substances in their dive bar.
Stay out of Malibu, Lebowski. Stay out of Malibu, deadbeat.
That's exactly right. That's kind of
yeah. I just
So that's what happened there. So Jacob, basically he's working with the storm cellar now. So that's how we get to the storm cellar. And I don't know the story there, like what that place is with that deal, but Jackie, the owner, she seems cool. And, yeah, we had a great time last night. So here's what, I'm dating myself here, but I was getting ready to go to the show last night to go play, and I was in the shower, and I thought, man, I kind of feel like Phil Collins at Live Aid. Because, we played, at the beginning of Live Aid in London, and then flew to Philadelphia to finish Live Aid. Now, and I realized most people won't even get that reference anymore. Because that was almost 40 years ago. Whatever. So yeah, 2:00 yesterday morning, I woke up to leave Puerto Rico. And I flew to my flight leaving San Juan which is
Yeah, I
fucking
can't wait to hear about that.
amazing. Love it. Oh my God.
Okay.
That might be another podcast, but it's beautiful and just, oh God, it was fantastic. And so very glad that I did that. And but like my flight leaving San Juan was delayed for like I only had an hour layover in Houston. So like I was delayed a half hour getting out of San Juan. And literally as we're finally pulling into the gate at Houston, my other flight was boarding in a different different concourse. So I literally had my bags and I'm running as fast as I can. And I made the plane, but like they were calling my
I've been
name.
there.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I think it was Chicago. It was bad. Yeah, sucks.
And I really kind of needed to get on that flight because we had that gig, you know. So then I was so keyed up. I mean, the flight from Houston to Lincoln's like, whatever, an hour and a half, not very long, not enough time to sleep. That's for damn sure. And I didn't sleep on the flight from San Juan to Houston because I was, you know, I mean, like whatever, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But also, like, I was nervous, you know. And but then as I get to Omaha, I'm just twacked. You know, and then I get a message like the short version of the story is that there was also a comedy show at the Storm Cellar last night before us. So we had to go. Usually what my plan was to go home and sleep for 4 hours, then get up, shower, have some food and go to the show. Didn't do sound check and set up. No, we couldn't do that. I had to come home, grab my stuff. I had like 45 minutes to kill. That's not sleep,
that's just pacing.
You know? And so I just, And so we had to go set up at like 5. I'm like, fuck. I mean, I was not happy about that. I went and I did it, but I told the band, like, I was so done. I'm like, everybody's like, hey, let's talk about things that you don't care about right now. And I'm like, I don't care about.
I'm at a point where I don't care about any of this right now. I love that.
I literally said that. I'm like, I don't care about any of this. Like, I'm here. I'm a professional. I said I'd be here. I'm part of a band. So if this is what the band has to do, I will be here and I will do the fucking thing, but I don't care. All I want to do right now is go to sleep. I've literally been waiting to go to sleep since 2:00 this morning.
That sounds really intense. That sounds like
it wasn't. I was not happy about having to be there at that time. And I'm like, I'm cool. This is fine.
Yeah.
But don't fuck with me. I don't care. Whatever you want to talk about it with somebody else. Because I am barely functional right now. That's what it comes down to. It's like I was barely functional. I can get my shit set up. I can do sound check. Then I'm going home and going to sleep.
Oh, you had time after sound check before the show started?
Well, yeah. I mean, we got done with sound check at like 6:30. You know. And so then I went home and went to sleep until 9. Got some pad thai in between. It was great. And then, you know, made a gigantic cup of espresso, slammed that shit down and went and rocked.
Were you in a better emotional and spiritual, healthy state
I was.
by the time you got there?
Yeah. Well, I needed to sleep for a couple hours. You know, and also I like playing the rock and roll. So the lesson was like, I mean, I could have torpedoed that.
Well, you didn't quit.
Ways.
You know what I mean?
I didn't quit. And I showed up. And also, like, I was very clear about, like, I'm going to be a total asshole right now because I just don't care.
I don't care. I have adopted that. I had to tell colleagues that recently with the recent sort of grief death situation that has happened in my family. Like, I think that's I'm coming into myself a little bit more. But I told my students, I told my colleagues, I said, and they didn't get not the brunt, but I basically said, hey, my filter is off. Like, I just held my father-in-law's hand while he died. And I've been, you know, being of service to my family a lot lately. I don't have a lot of patience or time for shenanigans or like arguing or talking or musing about work stuff that really doesn't matter right now. So if you want to just like, if you want to have that water cooler conversation, find it somewhere else. Cause I don't care. My headphones are on, my door is shut. I'm here. I'm doing my job and I'm going the fuck home. And if anybody has issues with that, take it up with my boss. Cause I don't want to hear it. And you know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I've been. Yeah.
Exactly right.
And it's been real nice.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about the show you're watching or what your cousin's doing.
I had barely any patience for like work drama or like, you know, student drama. I don't care. I
Figure it
think I
out. Whatever.
literally said that to somebody, maybe that first week back at work. I think I looked at one of my colleagues in their eyes and said, "Yeah, I don't really care about that," and like walked off. Like I
Yeah.
do not care, and it's
Right. I think there's a time for that level of honesty.
Yeah.
Like right now, like if everything was like if I didn't just lose my father-in-law or if I had a decent night's sleep or whatever. And like that's, it's like no harm, no foul on the father-in-law. And like my exhaustion was
exactly
of my own making. It was my blessing. I got to spend a few days in Puerto Rico with an old friend. Like it was awesome, but it doesn't change the fact that I was barely functional, and this unscheduled, like unplanned having to be there at 5 shit. I'm like, so fine.
And I think that it's like, it's one of those, it's like, I understand this is my state and I'm not saying I don't care. How dare you be you? It's that I need to tell you that I don't care about this right now. And it's okay that I don't care about it. And it's totally okay that you care about
100%.
it, but we don't have to do this. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to.
If you want to do this, you need to find somebody else to do it with.
Yeah.
For today, anyway.
Give me a couple weeks and I'll, complain about that email, like that's great. Like
right. Exactly.
I literally there was some exactly.
Fucking Mandy.
There was some back and forth on an email thread that I was privy to. I literally muted it. Like I don't care. And I told that person, I'm like, I know that you really raised that flag, but I muted that because it has nothing to do with anything. And you know what I mean?
I pay something to do with.
I pay a therapist like $200 a month. You should look into that.
Right.
Yeah.
Consider it. It's money well spent. I met with my therapist while I was in Puerto Rico. Yeah, just to rub it in. Hi, Janet, if you're listening, which I doubt you are.
I prefer the telehealth situation. My therapist Drew is like, he's got a nice little home office setup. It's really lovely. He's very stoked about it. And like, I've been like, I'd rather do it with my dog at my feet and a cup of coffee in my hand. And I love you, man, but
right. No, it's great for me.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So how's it going? How's it going with the, grief
the grief thing? It's been weird. I mean, I think that if we had started talking about this a few weeks ago, you would have a very different Joel, but it's been weird. It's been hard. It was very hard. And also it is very interesting to see the natural momentum for life to kind of continue while holding on to it. And like, I'm not in the stands. I'm maybe on the sidelines, but I'm in the mix with the family, it wasn't my biological father, but he was a second father to me. I love my biological father. He's my father, but Ray meant a lot to me. And it's been challenging. And also like, I don't know, there's so much to talk about, but being there for Kirsten and being there for Kirsten's mom has been a great honor. Because I see what that could be like or where that's headed for other people in my life, myself, and just I have a better understanding of how to approach people who have lost somebody. Like I literally thought of you and other people like Dave and other people that I know have lost parents. And I'm like, I don't know that I was as present for those folks that I could have been, but I didn't know what I know now. You know what I mean? To really be there in that space.
That's how life works.
That lived experience compassion stuff is, you don't know it until you've been through it. And you can't really fault yourself for not being a good friend when you didn't really know what that's like, and now I kind of do, and I have a better understanding of how to be there for others in a way. So it's just been
Oh, you and Kirsten sent
We did
us a
send you a
pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were one of the few people that did that. Of course, we didn't start a meal chain or anything, but so you
Okay.
did show up.
That's true. And like the
Yeah.
outpouring of people that it like just
That was a
it
good pizza,
Val's?
by the way.
Oh yeah,
Shout out to Yaya's.
Nice.
Oh, it's Yaya's, dude. Polynesian.
Nice. Yeah, not having to worry about food in a very tender time of grief is you don't realize how helpful that is until you experience it.
Like just to have my favorite pizza show up at the door was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. So it's been nice. It's been interesting. It's been hard. It's also like, this is a longer conversation, but like, today we're going to go over to their house for Super Bowl, and my family is going to show up, and like the absence of someone is really palpable when you are used to seeing them there. It's like my brain yearns for the thing that it got used to. So it's like, not Ray. Where's Ray? Like, why is he, where's he? Just on a fundamental human level, like, where is he? It's very strange, but yeah. So it's been hard. It's been beautiful. It's been brutal. It's been sad. It's been like, I don't know, somewhat. It's been very. I don't know. It's like I think what I'm left with, similar to the conversation we just were kind of talking about, like prioritization has shifted for me. Like,
sure.
I mean, that man got to die with his family around him, coaching him on and telling him it's okay to let go. I'm like, if all I do is cultivate my family and friendship relationships to have that, and like, that's all that matters. Like, you can have my job, you can have all the things, like, that's the ultimate gift, is to be able to have that, and not so many people have that. And it's like, how do I rearrange my priorities to put those sort of relationships at the foreground and not worry about a bunch of shit that doesn't matter,
I had a very intense experience with the song Black Peter decades ago, with the line, just want to have a little piece to die and a friend or two I love at hand.
That's it.
Like, that's it. Like, that's really all that matters. Everything else is kind of like, oh, whatever.
Like,
you're not taking it with you.
Yeah, it's fun to play the role in the movie, but it's like, don't believe that it's real. You know what I mean? Like, what's real is this connections. Like, I do feel like that's lasting, but the Monopoly game that is our Western life is really irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's been interesting, and I'm gonna miss that guy a lot. Ray meant a lot to me, and but also, like, one thing too, that to see my family show up for us and show up for Kirsten's family, that was like, I think of the Ben Harper lyric, the stones from my enemies, these wounds will mend, but I cannot survive the roses from my friends. Like, the outpouring of just grace and peace and generosity from people you care about is almost too much to bear. I can deal with the other stuff, but when you really let that in, it's like a tidal wave of emotion. So that's been really beautiful. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's really well said. It's all too much, and it's never enough.
It is. It really is. Yeah. I got to see, this is a hard shift. I got to see Tool. Speaking of spending a lot of money on concerts.
Oh yeah.
But I don't feel as like when that happened right around the time as, like, the fish at the Sphere, Dead and Company at the Sphere, and like the amount of money those tickets were going to. Like, I'm like, I'm paying $100 and some for floor tickets to Tool. This is not a big deal. Like, but holy smokes, man. I love that band.
I assume it was worth
it.
It
was great because
see, that's the flip side of the coin that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, was that money well spent?
Yes, it totally was.
Yes.
The show, well, just like so, Andrew, my friend Andrew Wells, like he's a huge Tool fan. He hooked up the tickets. We were supposed to go down with, I think it's like his wife's brother-in-law and me. So, and then that brother-in-law had to bail. So I'm like, hey, Colin, you want a ticket? So it was Andrew, Colin, and I on a road trip down to Oklahoma City.
Oh, nice.
I got one night, really nice, like 3-level Airbnb downtown for like, $300 split 3 ways was perfect. It was a night. They had like
nothing.
Yeah, they had an arcade game and a ping pong table. It was like a little bachelor pad. And then we went to see Tool.
Right, nice.
And it was fantastic. I mean, the show was just. I mean, those are the guys. Those guys, like, I think I mentioned this on the episode with Mike. The antithesis of the other bands I like the Dead and Pearl Jam. Like, you don't know what you're going to get that night. I knew exactly what I was going to get that night, and I was like, hit me again.
Hit me
But
again.
The visuals were great. But just hat tip to you too. I bought some of those decent concert earplugs, and I give you a hard time about that, and I'm sorry for that. I will never give you a hard time about those things ever again, because I was
relieved.
Like, you can hear everything.
You can hear everything. Great.
And I listened with more attention, and it didn't fucking rattle my eardrums. And like we were walking to the car after the show, and I was like, I'm not yelling. We all wore them, so it was like, we're not yelling at each other. Yeah. Like, and I'm so glad for local shows.
Yeah, they're great. Today's podcast is brought to you by Eargasm. Joel will provide
the climax for your eardrums. Eargasm.
Try again.
Eargasm. Don't blow your load at a concert. Hold it in for a bigger experience. Eargasm.
Okay.
Eargasm.
All right.
The pleasure is ours. I don't know. It's weird that it's called Eargasm, right? Like,
yeah, I know. It's great marketing.
Because I feel like that's a very niche kink.
What?
Well, I know what that's about, but when you say eargasm, that's not what I think of, and maybe that's because I'm a degenerate wastoid. But I'm thinking of the dark corners of the internet when somebody says eargasm.
No, come on.
I'm just saying,
man. Okay.
Come on, I'm fucking 12 years old still. Like,
I understand. Okay, fine. I just give that a wink and a nod, and you're like going to. I don't know where you are. You're on the tour. You're on the Tor browser.
I'm like several hand towels. You know what I mean?
For the sweat.
But yeah, I will never.
Okay.
I will.
Right.
I thought about that last show we saw. Who did we see? Ferocious Jungle Cat at the zoo, and we're standing right inside. Right in front of those PA speakers, and I'm like, I'm never gonna not wear those again at a show. Like, what have I been doing to myself?
Right. Oh yeah. Well, that's exactly. Once you wear them, you're like, oh my god. And I can't find mine, so I played last night without them, and it was ringing a little. It wasn't terrible, but yeah. Yeah, I definitely like it's there. I love it because you can still hear and you can still feel what's going on, and you don't lose. It doesn't sound like you're listening to it from through a pillow,
Yep. Big fan. Great. Big fan. So yeah, the Tool show was great.
Big fan.
I feel like the first time I saw them in 2019, it was kind of one of those like, oh my god, I'm finally seeing one of my favorite bands, and the emotion kind of carried me, and I didn't really listen very well. And this time I was like really tuned in. It was really great. It was really great. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to have that experience with your big rock and roll show.
It was a big rock and roll show. The band
Big
the
rock and roll
band that
show.
opened for
Yeah.
them, Elder, killed it. They were a band that past guest Matt Martinowski suggested to me. They're kind of a metal, like they started out kind of a dark, metal, kind of heavy, and then
Mhm.
they've evolved into like almost like these, 15, 20-minute psychedelic kind of rock and roll metal jams. Um, I'll
Oh, I'm
send you.
in.
They have this
Mhm.
EP where they have like 5 songs. They're all like 20 minutes long, and they're total.
That's not an
Exactly. That's
EP.
an album. I think it's called an EP, but I'm like, these
Right.
guys, yeah, this is his album. But
Oh.
it's just total improvisation in a way, and it sounds amazing, and I think you dig it. But yeah, they were fantastic. The other exciting thing is that Pearl Jam should be releasing at least a new single, if not the whole album, very soon. I think this next coming week we'll have some new music from Pearl Jam. They have a new album. I think it's called Dark Matter. I don't know much about it. They put out like in their monthly newsletter to the fan club. It was just like the newsletter header and then a entire black square, and like people were clicking on it. Then it would take you to this website that was all black, and nobody really figured out what to do until you highlighted it, and then the text was in there. It was cool.
Oh.
So yeah,
That's cool.
Well, yeah,
that'll
excited.
be exciting. I like the
Yeah,
teaser you sent. Sounded good.
Sounded intense. Sounded heavy. I'm stoked, as I always am.
Heaviosity. Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good for the fans of the Pearl Jam, which I am. I'm failing
great.
at words now. I'm doing great.
You're doing great.
You're doing
We're
good,
doing great.
buddy.
Everything's fine. Nothing is fucked here, dude.
Everything's fine. Nothing's
How's
fucked
your
here, dude.
how's your spirit? How's your spiritual health?
Huh? It's pretty
Yeah.
good, all things considered. It's of course it's easy to be spiritually healthy when you're in paradise.
I'm glad you got to do that, man.
But also I went to a bunch of secret meetings in Puerto Rico and at a bunch of different clubhouses. Everything from there was one in kind of a sketchy part of downtown, like we should probably just keep walking kind of thing. And you have to get buzzed into it because it's like a security door. But once you go inside, it's like this incredibly modern, hip oasis of sobriety. Yeah, it was so cool. Like, oh fuck, it was like a reverse speakeasy.
Yeah.
Like really, And then one was in kind of in this little. Here's the thing that tripped me out the most about Puerto Rico is that there aren't any windows.
What do you mean?
Most like businesses have windows, like glass windows, but most residences just have louvers, like these metal
Because of
louvers.
the hurricanes?
There's no glass. No, but there's no glass. Because it's always just pretty nice. Little warm sometimes, little chilly on sometimes. Here, my host, Dave, my first actual morning there, he was like, it's 69 degrees. I might have to put a shirt on. That was the coldest that it had ever been when he'd been there.
Wow.
It was always above 70. So he was like, I might have to put a shirt on. Yeah. But that was something completely new to me. Like, the louvers are just there, A, to protect from hurricanes, and B, for privacy. But other than that, there's no screens, no glass. The place Dave was in had like windows, but even they were kind of louvered. But that's just like most places don't have air conditioning, and none of them have furnaces.
Oh.
Yeah. And like the morning, because it was raining when I got there pretty good actually. And then like the next morning I was going to meet with my therapist on Zoom, and I went outside to do it, and I started getting like there were mosquitoes. I'm like, this sucks. So I went inside and I told Dave and Pat, and I'm like, they're like, what are you doing inside? And I'm like, well, I'm getting mosquito food out there. And they were like, they were confused. Like, what do you mean? Because there aren't usually mosquitoes. It's just because of all the rain. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is in fact paradise, and it's
so
just delightful.
It said something. Like it's a U.S. territory. You don't need a passport. You just fly there.
It is
everything's fine.
Don't need a passport.
Like, that'd be a cool little getaway.
Yeah. It's delightful.
Was the flight intense? Like cost wise? Did it cost you an arm and a leg though?
It's not
part
of an arm.
I'll give up a part of my arm.
Nope. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it wasn't unreasonable. And it's not like you down there and everything's very
Right.
cheap. That's not the case. It's not that much. In fact, in some cases, it's a little more
Right, it's the
expensive
United
because it's an
States.
island and everything has to be brought in. But it's
Right.
but it's also an
Right.
island. Like everything
Right.
has to get flown
Right.
or shipped in. That's
Mhm.
it. You know. So, but
Mhm.
everybody was really nice.
Mhm.
Most people speak English, but it is definitely a Spanish-speaking island. But yeah, I mean, it was. I want to go back there. What time
Now.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gl-
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Highly
did that, dude.
recommend.
I'm glad you just got away. That's cool.
It was cool. It was very nice to reconnect with
Yeah,
my
how's
old
he
friend
doing?
Dave and just hang out. And
Good.
he's
Good.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Same as it ever was. And he's retired and in Puerto Rico.
So he's horrible. It's going. Yeah, it's a real.
Yeah, well, that's what we talked about most of the time.
Yeah,
Is like it's
this
just the
sucks.
pits, like the worst. It's that whole, he took next indicated right
Mhm.
actions for a lot of years, and now he's retired in Puerto Rico
Dude.
with no worries.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that. I don't think any of us are going to get to retire. It's awesome.
I know. That's what my retirement plan's a heart attack. So
Yeah.
So
Well,
there you have
after
it.
this whole funeral stuff and being a loved one or going through seeing a loved one die and all of that, I leaned over. I literally was sitting in, this is morbid, but I literally leaned over in the middle of the funeral home negotiations and said to Kirsten out of the side of my mouth, we need to find a way to feed me to wolves. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Right, 100%. No, I get. Yeah,
Yeah.
feed
So
me
if
to
you
wolves.
have to drag me Yellowstone
Or-
on as I'm dying and just open up, open up
perfect. Shoot you up full of
Yep.
morphine.
Yeah, to
and
open
then
up
just
my
leave you.
bowels and yeah, that's what I want.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Well, I'll help.
Yeah.
Same. Samesies. Sure. Yeah, I love it. Or at least find a reasonably priced receptacle.
I asked them about that because I made the Lebowski reference in those. It was a pretty. And he said, "Yeah,
Oh my
people have
God.
done that. Brought a coffee can." Yeah.
Really?
Well, they said they
Good to
asked. They're
know.
like, "Hey, do you have your own? Do you want to provide one? You can obviously buy one here, and these are the options." And I said, we were just, because it was kind of a lighthearted and tearful experience. It was both and I said,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
kind of like what if I bought in
What if
like
I
a
bought
beach nut coffee can? And he's like, people have done that as a part of that's who this guy was. They really loved just crappy old coffee, and so they wanted to do that. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
That's beautiful
right.
and reassuring.
Put me in my Yeti bottle.
In
Oh
your
God,
Stanley Cup.
that's
another podcast.
You gotta go.
I gotta go.
I gotta go.
I gotta wrap it up, man.
You gotta
I
go.
gotta go. I'm
going to take my dog to the dog bar for the puppy bowl. Yeah.
Oh God, that's so nice.
So
that sounds
that's what
great.
I'm doing.
Cool. All right.
Love
well,
you,
it's
dude.
good to catch up. Maybe we'll do it again next week. Maybe.
All right.
Love you too.
Maybe. Have a good summer.
All right. Later.
With this job I got, it's a little too hard. Running out of money, gonna need more pay. I'm gonna wake up in the morning, Lord. I'm gonna pack my bags. I'm gonna beat it all down the line. Going down the line, going down
Don't forget, toot your hooter.